gays are on the escalator again. Hello everyone and welcome back to Ink and Fig. My name is Alex and today I am doing the A to Z book tag. I found this tag online through the Perpetual Page Turner. I will link her website down below so you can go and take a look yourself. And that's what I'm going to be doing in today's video, just to get myself a little bit better acquainted with you so you can see some of my interesting reading habits. It's a little bit more expansive than some of the other tags I've seen and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So I have a feeling that this one is going to be a long one, so I'm just going to go ahead and get into it. A is the author you have read the most books from. I think realistically the answer to this question is Yusuke Murata and Riichiro Inagaki, who did the Eyeshield 21 manga series. I have read the entire 37-volume series, so they definitely are the most widely consumed authors and illustrators of mine. If we're looking at non-manga books, I would say Anne Cleeves is definitely high up there. She did the Shetland series. I am about halfway through that series right now, and it's honestly fantastic. It's just such a comforting place. It's such a comforting read to go through, even though, like, it's a murder mystery. It's still quite comforting, and the show on Netflix is absolutely fantastic, or on wherever it is that you get your British TV. Alternately, Margaret Atwood. I have read 4 of her books, and I have also read quite a bit of Maureen Jennings' work. She did the Murdoch Mysteries, and I think I have read all but 2 of the Murdoch Mysteries, and those are also excellent. Good Canadian murder mystery. B is the best sequel ever, and there, in my opinion, is no better sequel than Crooked Kingdom. Second book in the Six of Crows duology. Just, like, what a banger. Like, that whole duology is, like, incredible. But I loved Crooked Kingdom because what it did was it took this really fantastical, suspend your disbelief heist, and then come to the second half of, like, fuck around and find out, you know what I mean? Just, like, it absolutely hit us with reality, with the odds truly stacking up against us in a much more realistic way than a heist does. And frankly, like, I just love the setting and the characters, and, like, that whole duology is just art. So C is for currently reading, and I am currently reading Perfect on Paper by Sophie Gonzalez. I am only about 40-odd pages in, but so far so good. D is for drink of choice while reading. I usually opt for something cold because I usually forget that it's there. So if it's already cold, it's not going to cool down anymore, and in Calgary, drinks never warm up that much anyway, because it's always cold. E is for e-reader or physical book. I absolutely cannot read ebooks. I lose my immersion immediately, and I find it really hard to pay attention. So I am a physical book reader all the way. I don't mind audiobooks. But my favorite format is just a good physical book. F is fictional character you probably would have dated in high school. There are so many options that I could possibly go for here. I did not date in high school for a reason. I was not what I would call dateable at the time. The reasons for that have become glaringly obvious to me in hindsight. For this question, I think I'm gonna choose Hiruma Yoichi from Eyeshield 21. The reason being, in high school, I was an extremely easy mark. Like, I was desperate. You know, we can be honest here. I was super desperate in high school, and it showed. And I think that for someone like Hiruma, finding someone like me who's very smart and capable, and also painfully desperate, would just make me the best person to have on his roster, and all he has to do is pretend to be interested in me, and I think that that's something that he would do. If that's not sad, I don't know what is, but we're gonna go with it anyway. G is for glad you gave this book a chance. I chose for this question Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. The reason that I had to give this book a chance was because it is a novel in verse. And for me, the kiss of death for anything is telling me that it's in verse, because I have a pathological fear of poetry. And so the word verse actually, like, causes me to start sweating. So, I gave this book a chance because, and this is the stupidest reason for it, I found myself 2021, December 31st, last day of the year. I am one book down from my very hefty goal of 80 books last year. Now, I'm gonna give some background on that. I chose to read 80 books last year because my goal was to read the entire Ice Shield 21 manga from start to finish, and then read 36 books on top of that. I had a very easy time getting through the manga, and then a very difficult time getting through the rest of it. The reason those numbers do not add up to 80 is because I also wanted to catch up on My Hero Academia, which I did not completely do, but I did get reasonably caught up. So anyway, I found myself December 31st, 2021, one book short, 79 out of 80 books, and I was damned if I was going to let myself lose after having worked so hard last year to make my 80 book goal. So I sit down at my desk at work, first thing in the morning. There is nobody in the office because it's December 31st. We're off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. No one is going to be there. I have free reign to do whatever I want, which unfortunately was billing, but you don't actually need to pay much attention when you're billing, in my particular case. So I flipped on Libby, and I was like, I'm gonna find the fastest and most interesting ebook I can find. And I found Clap When You Land, which I think clocked in at 6.5 or 7 hours. And I was like, you know what? We're doing it. I am getting my 80th book this year. And if someone reads me a novel in verse, maybe I'll understand. Maybe it won't be that scary. And that book absolutely slapped. Like, I am so glad I gave that book a chance. Like, it was such a good read. It told me a story that I really needed to hear because it was something so far removed from my own experience. And, like, the verse was gorgeous. And the story was gorgeous, and the characters were gorgeous, and I rooted for all of them, and they were all just such beautiful people having a very real experience, and I loved it, and I can't think of a better way to have ended 2021. I did. If anyone from work is watching this, I got my billing done, all right? Everything was fine. H is for Hidden Gem Book. It is my goal on this earth to get everybody to read this book. Restlessness by Aretha Van Herk. This book is so cool. I think I've explained it before, but I will go over it again. It is about a woman who has hired an assassin to kill her because she just can't put up with life anymore. And honestly, mood. So, the assassin shows up at her hotel. She's staying at the Palliser downtown, which any Calgarian will know. And he says, all right, are you sure? And she can't answer him outright. She hesitates. And so he says, well, you know what? I have never seen Calgary before. And after I kill you, assuming I kill you, I'm going to have to leave immediately. For reasons being that he killed her. So I would like to go out for dinner. Come out for dinner with me. So they go out for dinner. And they talk, and we go back in her memory of her life and going through all of this, and then they go for a walk downtown. And so we see all of these iconic places in downtown Calgary, and we get a really gorgeous taste for the city and go through this woman's story as she comes towards the end of her life. It's so good. And my singular flex here is Aretha Van Herk was my creative writing instructor in university. So I got to talk to her about this book after I finished it. And the first thing she asked me was, do you know if she died at the end? So if you read this and you are confused and you want the answer, I have the answer. Straight from the horse's mouth, as it were. So please, do yourself a favor, go read Restlessness by Aretha Van Herk. I saw a copy of it at Echo Used Books in Lethbridge this weekend, so if you're in Lethbridge watching this video, go to Echo Used Books. It's right inside the doorway. Go grab this. I is for an important reading moment in your life. I think in recent memory, my most important reading moment was joining Book Roast's Magical Readathon in 2020. It was the last of the Potter-themed readathon, because a number of months later, the author decided to wage war on her entire viewership. So I joined up, and I was like, I'm gonna pursue a career as a healer in this game, and I read 4 books in a month, and there are years where I have read less than I read 3 books in April 2020, and there are some years where I have read less than that. I was shocked, stunned at myself, and so thankful. And so I stuck around. I stuck around on the booktube community. I stuck around in the book roast community. I am still doing the Magical Readathon in its new, fabulous Aurelium state. It is gorgeous. I am in love, truly thriving. And honestly, like, I think that event really turned around my reading life. It's made me a more consistent reader and someone who actually wants to read, which for me is a really big deal. J is for Just Finished, and I just finished If I Had Your Face by Frances Cha. This book was incredible, loved every second of it. I am so invested in all of the women's lives in this book, and I feel like they're real people. Like, I just want nothing but the best for them as they're trying to go through this messy, messy life and, like, figuring themselves out and figuring out their dreams and chasing, you know, perfection and finding life instead. It's amazing. Oh, here's a juicy one. K is for the kinds of books you won't read. I will never say won't. I'll always give something a shot, but sometimes you just don't feel it. And honestly, I feel that way about smut. Like, which is really rich coming from me having been an author of said genre before. Like, I just find it weird. Like, the way that most of these books are set up, I cannot connect to the characters on an emotional level before they get doing their thing, which I hate. Like, I want to care about these people, and I want to see them do what they're doing, instead of just being like, oh god, these two people are, you know, doing the thing, and guess I'm just get to sit here and watch. Like, it's a very awkward experience for me, and there's a reason that I'm sitting somewhere on the ace spectrum, and this is it. So, like, that said, I will read smutty fanfic all fucking day. Like, once I have that connection to the characters and I care about them, live your best lives, babies. Like, these books, it needs to be a really special one, and I need to connect to those characters in seconds before they take their clothes off, you know what I mean? L is for the longest book I have read. The longest book I've read was the second book in the Game of Thrones series, Clash of Kings. Unsurprising that it's a George R.R. Martin that's the longest book I've ever read. M is for major book hangover. Is it any wonder? It's Six of Crows, y'all. This book wrecked me. I literally could not pick up and read another book for a month after I finished this. It occupied my mind. It still occupies my mind, and that's why I'm bribing myself with it this year. It just, it slaps so hard. If you haven't read it, believe BookTube, believe Book Talk, believe Bookstagram. This book is incredible. It's so good. It's a heist. It's found family. It's so good. N is for the number of bookcases you own. Several. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I have 12 and 13 in the basement. So I have 13 bookcases altogether in my collection. Ooh, okay. We're pulling out the good shit today, boys. All right. O is for one book you have read multiple times. That book is Troy by Adele Giras. This is ostensibly a romance, but also kind of a historical fiction. So it's about a pair of sisters who are in the midst of the Trojan War. They are Trojans themselves, and they work very closely with the leading family, with Hector's family in Troy. And they are both sort of trying to come of age, trying to figure out love, trying to figure out themselves. And they're going through all of this. And then, you know, in the midst of all of that, the war is still happening. We get the end of the war and what it looks like when the Greeks arrive. Like, this is a really heavy book. I think I read this for the first time when I was about 12 or 13, and I've read it, I think, twice since then. I am not someone who rereads books, so that would make my single reread of 3 times my max here. So this is the book I have read the most. P is for my preferred place to read. On the train, 100%. There are so many people on the train that I want to ignore, and there is nothing that gets me into the escapist mood, into a book, new or otherwise, like having people to ignore. So 100% on the train. Q is for a quote that inspires you or gives you all the feels from a book you've read. We're whipping out the good one. Now, this is like not one of the quotes, you know what I mean? But it's where Kaz saves Inej from the top of the shipping container. Don't slip away from me. Just make it to the schooner. Open your damn eyes, Inej. I protect my investments. Or I'm glad I'm bleeding all over your shirt. Just that whole scene, top to bottom, all the feels, absolutely love it. R is reading regret. Not reading Six of Crows sooner, honestly. Like, everyone has been talking about it for months and months and months and months and months. Like, so long. And I have been sleeping on it this whole time. And it is, like, my biggest regret, honestly, because this book has, like, changed my life. It's so good. If you haven't read it yet, this is your sign. Don't be like me. Read it now. S is for a series you started and still need to finish. It is Shadow and Bone. The reason being, I just got King of Scars and Rule of Wolves in the mail, and I really want to get to them, but I understand that contextually I need to finish Shadow and Bone first so that I, like, understand what's going on with Nikolai. I have not met Nikolai yet because I've only read the first Shadow and Bone book. So I gotta get on that. I need to figure out who this Nikolai person is. T is for 3 of your all-time favorite books. Those books for me are Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir, to nobody's surprise, Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, and lastly, Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood. The show is also fantastic, not gonna lie, but I did love the book more. Ooh. Do I have a book with him on the cover? Wow, no, I really don't. All right, well, too bad for me, I guess. U is for unapologetic fangirl for Eyeshield 21, specifically Hiruma Yoichi. He is, like, the worst. He's such a bad person. If you've read Six of Crows or seen the Shadow and Bone show and you know who Kaz Brecker is, Kaz Brecker and Hiruma Yoichi are almost exactly the same person. I will die on this hill, okay? Like, Hiruma is a little bit more guarded than Kaz. He has an obsession with American football and games that allow him to win. So he doesn't run a crime syndicate. He's the captain of a football team, of an American football team, I will specify. And, like, he's just an all-around shit disturber. Like, he does all this for fun. He's a bit more animated than Kaz. He's a little bit more theatrical than Kaz. Like, if you've seen the show, imagine the scene where Kaz got dressed up as the sculptor. With Hiruma, it's that, but, like, all the time. Like, there's a maid's outfit, which, like, of course there is, it's a manga. But he's in it, not one of the girls, which I thought was tasteful. Like, there was a maid's outfit, there was a reporter's outfit involved. He was, like, a game show host at one point, although I think that was in the anime only. I don't think that was in the manga. Hiruma operates at an 11 out of 10, 110% of the time. Like, he is something else, and I love him. Oh my god, okay, I've been waiting for this because I want to scream about something before it comes out. V is for very excited for this release more than all the others. On Rotation by Shirlene Obuobi is coming out on Tuesday. It's coming out on Tuesday. I cannot wait to get my hands on this book and read it immediately. Like, oh my gosh. So, Dr. Shirlene Obuobi is a doctor in the United States. I think she is a cardiologist, and I think she just got finished with her residency situation. I'm not sure how medical schooling works in the States, so I could be saying something completely wrong. Please don't come at me about that. I am merely a Canadian and I do not work in the medical industry. But she is a beautiful person, fabulous, and she is so multi-talented. She can and does do everything. And she has written a book about a young Black woman who is doing her residency in the States and coming to terms with sort of her her new career, her new position in life, trying to find love, like just really, it sounds like slice of life, but in a very particular kind of setting. And I absolutely am losing my mind. I cannot believe it's coming out on Tuesday. I've been waiting for this for months and it's finally here. I'm so stoked. I'm so stoked. Okay, now here I'm gonna out myself. W is for worst bookish habit. If I love a book too much, I will stop reading it because I don't want it to end. And I just lose myself in the world and thinking about it, obsessing over it, but never actually finishing the book. So Six of Crows took me an entire month to read because I got halfway through, loved it too much, and then refused to pick it back up because I didn't want it to end. And I do this all the time. It took me 2 years to get through I Shield 21, which is why I made it my goal to read it in its entirety last year, because I'm like, I'm not stopping again, because my friend is gonna kill me if I stop one more time. We gotta get it read, so I have to bribe myself to finish books. Ooh, okay, this one's actually fun. I'm gonna have to, get up and wander around for this one. X is for X marks the spot. Start at the top left of your shelf, just up there, and pick the 27th book. All right, I don't know if you can see me, but I'm over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Which way do I go? Do I keep going left or do I go down? 25, 26, 27. All right. Okay, so I decided to count down rather than over, and I ended up with Anton Chekhov's 7 short novels. The 7 short novels that are in here are The Duel, Ward Number 6, A Woman's Kingdom, 3 Years, My Life, Peasants, and In the Ravine. I purchased this book as a 15-year-old teenager, thinking I was edgy and cool for reading Chekhov. I've never read this book. Y is for your latest book purchase, which you will have seen if you watched my big, giant used bookstore haul, which I will link up in the cards here for you to go and watch and enjoy. The last question, we made it. Z is for Z Snatcher book, or the last book that kept you up way too late. That book was It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. The reason this kept me up as late as it did, which was not very late, because I treasure my sleep more than anything else in this world, so I will stop reading at a reasonable time in order to get sleep. I stayed up until probably midnight trying to finish this because I just wanted it to end. Sorry. And on that bombshell, it's time to end. Thank you so much for sitting with me through this A to Z tag. I hope this did not get too long, and I hope that you had a good time watching me run around my library and collect books to show you. This was extremely fun for me. I got to talk about some interesting books and some interesting concepts that I haven't thought about in a while. And honestly, I just had a good time. So thank you so much for joining me. If you want to do this tag, consider yourself tagged. Go ahead, do this. Make sure to let me know you have done it so that I can go watch your video and watch you out yourself on various topics. You can go ahead and follow me on all of my social media at Ink and Fig. I'm most active on Instagram if you'd like to follow me over there especially. And give this video a like, comment me a little cat, because I am lonely at the moment because my partner is watching the Book of Boba Fett, and I would like a cat to snuggle with. So send me some cats in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't, also, because we're getting up more and more fun and exciting content like this all the time, and it's a good time over here. So thank you so much for making it this far. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! I gotta clean this up.